Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Appreciate all of you for being with us. Back with Jeff Hansen from Give Him Hell Brigham, Cougar Sports Insider. You know him, you love him, you see him everywhere. He's on Wise Guys, he's on BYU Sports Nation. Jeff, you are like ubiquitous when it comes to BYU stuff. But I appreciate you carving out some time. But a huge weekend for BYU and recruiting. There's no other way to say it. With as many guys, with as many stars and ratings attached to their names. Is this the biggest weekend in quite some time for BYU on the recruiting front?
I don't think it's a really difficult argument to say this is the biggest weekend in history. I mean, in the recruiting service history, I think for sure. Like, I don't know how big of the official visits were in the 80s and 90s. I have no idea. I can't speak to that. But since there have been recruiting networks and star rankings, I can't think of a bigger weekend. I mean, even going back to the 2010 class that had all those dudes. That was a great class. BYU had 4 or 5 guys that came on visits that were big time. BYU's got like 30 that are on the board right now. And a lot of them, I think upwards of 18, 19, 20 of them are going to come to campus next week. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I don't think it's hyperbolic at all to say this is the biggest recruiting weekend in BYU football history.
Now, we've talked about Ryder Lyons, but you had guys like a Jax Tanner, who's out of Idaho. I think the number 2 recruit out of that state. He's got connections to BYU. He's bordering on 4-star status as an offensive lineman. He kind of screams to me, and I'll get your thought on this. He screams to me like the prototypical BYU lineman, just a tough, hard-nosed player that BYU succeeds with more often than not.
Yeah, Jax Tanner is legitimately elite. I think he will be a 4-star by the time all is said and done. It's hard for networks sometimes, especially early on when you're assigning those rankings, to look at a guy who plays in a small school in Idaho and he's dominating, but he's also a foot taller than everybody else on the field. It's a challenge, right? So yeah. I think there's some of that with Jax Tanner's rating, but if you look at his Final Four, Oregon was in the playoff, Tennessee was in the playoff, Michigan just won a national championship, and then there's BYU. Those are his Final Four schools. So he's big time. There's no question. And I agree with you, Jake. He's a guy that I'm trying to think of a good comp that he reminds me of because he's an interior guy. I don't know. Is it a James Empey? I don't know. But he's just this physical specimen that just dominates. He plays the offensive line with the kind of attitude that you would want a defensive tackle to play with, that he's seeking out contact. He is quick off the line. He gets into his position and into his footing, and his footwork is phenomenal. He gets there really quickly. His hands are strong. He's violent. I love the way that Jax Tanner plays the game. I love the position that BYU's in to get him late, to get his last. He's expected to make a late June, early July decision. So to get his last visit before that decision, I think BYU's in a really, really strong position.
Well, the way you describe things, he kind of strikes me as a Bruce Mitchell, but far more advanced than Bruce, because Bruce was so much better than everybody else at the 2A level at South Summit. You're right. He was a foot taller and 40 pounds heavier than almost everybody. And Bruce played defensive tackle at BYU, didn't work out. They moved him to O-line, and he took to it right away, and he's going to be the starting center this year. So I think that might be, even though they're different levels of athlete, that might be the best comp for him in the way he approaches the game. Now, another name I wanted to run by you is a guy that I absolutely love, Legend Glasgow. Now, him and PJ Taki are both Lehigh High School guys, and Lehigh's got a really, really fantastic, trio, because you also include the running back. His name is escaping.
Devon Eka. Yeah.
Well, that trio, Lehigh is going to be a force in the 6A ranks this year, and they got 2 of them committed so far. Devon obviously has got an offer from BYU. Give me a sense, just in I guess for all 3. I'll open up to all 3 of them for you. What's your evaluation of the Lehigh trio there?
Let's start with Devon Eka. He's maybe the guy that people don't talk about as much. And I have to be careful when I say this, because people are going to listen to the name and then they're going to run with it, and they're not going to get to the period of the sentence. So get to the full sentence, guys. Yeah. I see a lot of Jamal Williams with the way that Devon Eka plays the game. I mean, he's a big physical runner. And if you look at Jamal, I mean, as much as you remember breakaway runs and all that, physicality was the name of his game. He sought after contact. That was how he was successful. He wasn't the fastest guy on the field. He had good quickness, but not elite quickness. But he was big and fast enough and quick enough and big and big and big. And that's what made him powerful. I see a lot of that in Devon Eka. He runs kind of upright, looks like Jamal when he runs. The way that he cuts looks like Jamal. His vision and the way that he finds those lanes. I see a lot of Jamal Williams in the way that Devon Eka plays. But I'm not talking about Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions, not that Jamal, but that Jamal that was running against Georgia Tech as a true freshman. That's the kind of Jamal that I think I see in Devon Eka right now. So I think he's a very, very good player. And then moving on to those other two, I think you could convince me that those are the two most underrated players in the state of Utah, and PJ Takitaki and Legend Glasgow. PJ is phenomenal. There was a game last year, Jake, in the playoffs that he had 3 sacks on 3 consecutive plays. I mean, he forced the 3 and out by himself. That's the kind of pass rusher that he is. He is the nephew of Sione Takitaki, who obviously everybody knows and remembers. And he plays a lot like him, but he does it from that true defensive end spot at Lehigh. He's must-see TV. I mean, go find a way to watch PJ Takitaki. And then Legend, man. I mean, Legend Glasgow, he played. He had some stuff he had to work through with transfer and eligibility and things like that last year. So he only played in the back half of the season. He was on pace for 2,000 receiving yards. This guy is unreal. He has some of the best hands that I've seen from a high school guy. He ran a legitimate laser timed 4.42 this last spring. So as a junior, I mean, so he's got the speed. He's got all of the tools that you want. You just want to see more of him on the field, and he's healthy right now. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be a part of a really fun Lehigh offense under Coach Hadfield. I think you're going to see a lot of Legend Glasgow. He just got bumped up from an 84 to an 87. I think that continues to rise. A lot of talk about Jaron Pula from Timpview, and he deserves it. Legend Glasgow deserves to be mentioned in that same breath. He's every bit the player that Jaron Pula is.
Now, he made a big splash when he already committed. Brock Harris out of Pineview High School. Oof. Looks like just a thoroughbred. And I had a member of the BYU staff last year when he came to summer camp said, Jake, you put a college uniform on him for us right now, he probably starts a tight end for us. And he's a 17-year-old junior at the time. And I'm like, you're serious? Like, yeah, dead serious. And he has proven to be that. And I don't think people realize how big of a pickup he really is.
I don't think so. And it's easy. It's easy to forget about a guy playing at Pineview. I mean, Pineview's not a powerhouse down there in St. George. It's not Crimson Cliffs. They're not playing for state championships. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to kind of forget about Brock Harris once high school football starts. But people shouldn't, man. I mean, he's different. He is an off the bus guy that as soon as you see him, you're like, holy cow, that's a dude. Legitimate NFL talent already. It's up to BYU to develop that talent, to figure out how to use it. But that's his trajectory. That's where Brock Harris is headed. A lot of people will say he's the best tight end in the country. I don't know if he's the best, if he's the 5th best. I don't know if it matters. He's going to be a dynamic football player at BYU. A lot has been said about why BYU doesn't use the tight end spot. And I think that it's fair, but I think there's a reason for it. And mostly because BYU hasn't had a tight end who really commands the ball since, Isaac Rex before he got hurt. It's been a really long time. And even a guy like Reiner Swanson last year, who was a very good tight end and has his own very, very bright future, he was raw, right? I mean, he was raw. He didn't, I don't think he was quite ready as a blocker last year. I mean, he still looked like a freshman. Brock Harris doesn't. I mean, he's already an elite blocker. He's got the elite size. If you look at him, you kind of think like you might make the mistake and be like, yeah, he looks a little bit lanky. He's like 250 pounds, but he's just so built. It looks a little bit lanky. I mean, he's got everything that you want. He could absolutely play at the college level today. He's very good.
Yeah, he carries it very well because you're right. You look at him like he's a little skinny. No, he's legit. He's got the weight on him. There's no doubt. Okay, last thing for me, Jeff. We've barely scratched the surface of how many guys are visiting, but is there maybe another name or two out there that in this group that's visiting this weekend that you're most excited about?
Well, a couple of guys on the defensive line that kind of have flown under the radar in the midst of all of these big names and recruiting stars that I'm really excited about. The first one is Nehemiah Kalani out of I think he's out of Oklahoma City. I don't know, somewhere in Oklahoma, maybe Stillwater.
You mean the guy that BYU allegedly was tampering with Justin Kirkland when they?
That's the one. He's more than just a wedge into somebody else. No, Kalani can play, man. I mean, He's already 260 pounds. He's another guy, kind of like Brock. He doesn't look like it, but he's built really well. He's got a big frame. I think he projects as a true defensive tackle at the next level. He's got a bunch of Big 12 schools on him. He's been on I think Michigan State, so some Big 10 interest as well. Very, very good player. And frankly, just the kind of defensive tackle that the BYU fans have said they wanted, and we haven't been able to see over the last few years. I think that's what Nehemiah Kalani is. So I'm excited to see him. And then another defensive tackle in Lopeti Mawala. He went by Junior Mawala last year and played at Davis. Now he's Lopeti Mawala and he's playing at Orem, but he's still the same really, really good player. At Orem, he's going to line up at a couple of different spots because he's so athletic. He's a very good basketball player. Won the state championship with Davis last year on the basketball floor. So he's very athletic and moves really well. But there's zero question that he's going to be a 3-tech defensive tackle. Plays at 310 pounds at the next level. He's big. He's strong. His lower half is unreal. I mean, he's just built in a way that I think screams really dominant defensive lineman. I think he could play. I think he could fit gaps. I think he could shoot gaps. I think he could do everything he needs to do. And I think BYU is in a really, really good spot. So I'm excited to see how he develops at Orem. Orem's going to be really good this year in 5A, folks. So go see Orem play. But I'm excited to see what Lopeti Mawala does and how he develops.
All right. Well, Jeff, I cannot thank you enough for all the time you've spent breaking things down for us, but encourage everyone once again, go and download Jeff's preview. It's an incredible thing. It gives you breakdowns of literally every opponent, names to know for these opponents, coaching staff, philosophy. You covered it from every angle, my man.
No, I appreciate it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And it's a magazine that my whole goal going into it is it's a magazine that is more than just you look at it once and put it down, that it is something that is worthwhile for 4 months. I hope we've delivered that. I think that we've been able to.
Well, I will make sure to drop a link in the show notes as well as in the comments section on YouTube so people can find it pretty easy. Download it, enjoy it on your summer vacations, and get ready for the upcoming football season. But Jeff, as always, thanks for carving out some time to join us here on Locked On Cougars.
Appreciate it, Jake.
All right, make sure you check out Jeff's work. Give him help, Brigham.com, Cougar Sports Insider. Tune in on the KSL Sports Zone with Game Night Rewind that we have on 1280 KSL Sports Zone. He's got it all covered. So as always, truthfully, big thank you to Jeff. Thank you to all of you for tuning in and making Locked On Cougars a part of your day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.